Hello, everyone. It is the last edition of the Cross Commission podcast of the year. So we're going to ring in the new year and close out the old with a bang with a little bit of a look back to 2025. And because we are just a month away from opening face-off, look ahead to 2026 in lax as well. So 2025, we'll talk about some of our favorite non-lacrosse things. We've, done the Crossies back 6 months ago, but we'll also keep an eye lacrosse related into the new year. I'm Ryan. Jake and Safe are here as always as well, and we'll have a little bit of a fun episode here this evening, and whenever you're listening to this as well. Hope everyone had a nice Christmas and holiday season. We're in that nice in-between mode of the time between Christmas and New Year's, where as a teacher, you come to appreciate that as the
Buddy.
just
I woke up this morning, realized I hadn't been to work in a week, and then realized I had a whole nother week.
Yeah, I'm not back till next Monday.
I had a whole week off last week and a whole week off this week. It's the war against working.
I know my hardest decision is, am I going to break out NHL 26, get around to maybe EAFC, continue practicing around with Microsoft Flight Simulator? I got that for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Those are the hard decisions to make when you're on break like this. And you've already done all your grading before the vacation and all that. Jake will go into his spiel about you have a union job, don't do work over your break. I'm abiding by that. Don't worry.
I'm so glad to hear it. Glad to hear
You got the NFL, in spite of all its excess, actually delivering in its big things. You just keep on getting away with it. Meanwhile, the college football playoff, we'll just have all the sports writers continuing to say, well, what do you expect? Sports have blowouts. Meanwhile, the NFL's here with a friggin' Bears 49ers game having like 70 points out of nowhere.
NFL's nasty. NFL's nasty, dude. They're gonna be playing the Super Bowl like the weekend of Maryland versus Virginia in 5 years, and it's
gonna be like a week before the brackets are released for March Madness. Before you know it,
it's just not even gonna, like, Syracuse will be playing Hopkins. Will be playing the Super Bowl the same day, and people are still just gonna be all in. It's gonna be gross.
Netflix is gonna have an 18-game international package where they just cross promote all their crappy movies and shows the whole time. I know this goes right into Safe's heart, but we got to do, like, I understand streaming is the way things are going vis-a-vis cable and everything. We got to do something about these Netflix games, though. And same with YouTube with what they did with the Brazil game with Mr. Beast and everything. I'm here to watch football, not one big commercial for all your other shows.
Everything's an ad. Everything is an ad.
Yeah, the broadcasts are just a commercial. And the games are essentially just parties or just big bars. Especially, like, feels like with the NBA, like, these sweet type of deals you can get. Like, it's more detached from the actual action on the field or on the court than ever.
Yeah. Well, make an exception to Prime. They did the smart way by pretending like
Prime doesn't have to sell anything. You already have Amazon.
Yeah, you already have it. I know in the commercials you could press a button and you could buy a pair of sneakers or something like that. But, like, they treat it like a sports product. For the NFL, they hired all the Sunday Night Football people. Works out great. They do a really good job with hockey in Canada. They're the only good thing going with NASCAR these days. Their NBA coverage has been pretty good.
NBA broad's pretty good, yeah. NBA is
they do a good job. Prime's fine. Netflix, YouTube, cut the crap and pretend that you're a sports network like Prime does.
Well, the problem is they don't want to be a sports network, and also broadcasting sports is hard. You need to get people who know how to broadcast sports. Like, it's a job. This is these people's careers. Like, the producers and the camera and the tech people and all of it is, you actually have to get people who know how to broadcast sports, and I don't really think they're in the business of broadcasting.
I mean,
sports
Netflix time and time again just come out and say we're in the events business, not the sports rights business. So I guess if they keep on saying it, you might as well believe it based on what you saw on Christmas Day. Get hyped for Yankees Giants opening night, where you'll every time Aaron Judge comes up and they make a promo to whatever Stranger Things character is tall.
What did Ted Sarandos say? He said his son watched Lawrence of Arabia on his phone. I mean, Jesus, dog. You gotta. I mean, good Lord.
Why doesn't Netflix just make Netflix movie theaters? It doesn't have to be nationwide. It can be part of their boutique. And one thing I'm hoping with Netflix, even if they do swallow up Warner, is I miss like the director's commentary. Like we wouldn't have gotten Flex Gold and like Armageddon take I hope they do that more, because if like the whole point is like to stay on the platform, then lots of directors on streaming devices has been like a huge loss. I feel like it's just like
that used to be the point of buying the DVD.
Yeah.
And now they're like, well, we just don't make DVDs. We just don't make DVDs anymore. Which, I don't know. The movie theater thing is a big one. It's like, there are people who want to give you money to go and watch movies in the theaters. Like, there are people who want to do that. And at the very least, if you're Netflix, in particular, the people who want to do it live in major cities. Like in New York.
It's right up there. Vertical integration, all that.
Exactly. Just go make a Netflix
and if you
movie
got
theater in freaking New York City.
They do have that studio in Jersey, which is huge now. But yeah, just grab some space in Manhattan, just open up a theater and just the Netflix theater. It's just
and especially if you got they get the Warner Brothers catalog, then
you could re-release Netflix movies in the Netflix theater, and you can make money that way.
That's what people want to see the thing.
Imagine if Netflix was like, we're re-releasing Inception. I know they don't want no one's with Universal or whatever, but I'm just putting movie. Imagine if they put out some really popular movie from 50 years ago. Yeah, we're gonna re-release this in theaters at the Netflix theater. You tell me people wouldn't go?
Absolutely, no, 100%. It's all part of the promotion too. It's free advertising. All the news people will be like, "Oh my god, it's blah blah blah."
Imagine re-releasing Barbie before Greta Gerwig's next movie. Like a million people just wouldn't flock to go see Barbie
Narnia double header or double feature. Yeah,
I don't get some of this stuff, man. I really don't.
Well, yeah,
the Netflix.
We're in an extraction economy now, Jake. We're not into a value.
We're not. That's a great way to put it. Pure extraction economy. The thing with the Netflix Warner thing is it's 100% going to get spun off. Well, one, it's going to take 3 years for this to actually go final. So it'll be there'll be a new presidential administration probably by the time this thing actually finishes. Then within 5 years it'll probably just be spun off, because everything gets, what is it? NBC is spun off in 2 now, and US NBC Sports is back.
Out of nowhere, but you also have a separate USA Sports division, even though NBC's still airing the sports that are on USA Sports.
How far we've come.
The Olympics.
How far we've come, because I always big up the YouTube movie channel. They put Deep Impact on there. That America stopped charging MSNBC to really just get I was like, it was just a naive time, just a quieter time. The president was like, I'm going to have to explain this to you, and everyone just paused and it was just. It is just a capsule of what we were,
God, Armageddon and Deep Impact coming out within 6 months of one another.
Back to back.
Never been a bigger time to have a disaster flick based on a big asteroid coming towards Earth. I'll tell you that.
That's when Hollywood, actually made moves.
The 90s are the.
You know, we have one coming up,
and they will be totally different. They would
Ants and A Bug's Life, of course. Of course that way.
Or people would make alien movies, and then they'd make Contact, where it's Matthew McConaughey and
what's her name? Jodie.
Yeah.
I remember that movie. I only watched it once, but
then they make Independence Day. It's aliens, but Will Smith.
With Will Smith, and we get.
God, that's a good.
That's what Hollywood is built on. Just taking somebody's other idea and make it
better.
Analyze this.
Money.
The Sopranos came out like 3 months later.
Like there should be 3 different, or like there should be already in production somebody's half-baked vampire movie idea because of Sinners.
Oh yeah.
Like somebody should just make, will it be as good? No, but at least it's not like, man, what if we just did, 48 Hours 3?
And Independence Day, getting Randy Quaid, people to remember him on the 4th of July, not just Christmas Vacation.
Who would be in that? Timothy Oliphant and who's
another
Timothy
48 Hours.
John Boyega. John Boyega. Timothy Oliphant.
48 Hours 3. No, it'd have to be a comedian, wouldn't it? Eddie Murphy have to be a comedian.
Well, I was gonna say I'm trying to think of a younger, like African American, like a not old, but seasoned mid-career actor.
I mean, it's got to be like everything else in Hollywood.
No, hang it, flip it. It's
Blair Underwood.
It's
and Austin
it's
Butler.
Like the comedian is white, so it's like Stavros.
Who was in Begonia? Killed it. Absolutely great, great performance by him.
I was just gonna say I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I know Timothy Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet is having a moment. Did I butcher his last name?
Yes, you did. Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet. He's everywhere.
You gotta know Stavros.
He's responsible for the Knicks' rise.
He's the fat Greek guy who's from Baltimore, who is everywhere now. Like the Ravens used him in their marketing.
Yeah.
He did a bit. I don't know. It might not have been recent. It probably was. He was on one of the Barstool shows or whatever, and he was talking about the Ravens camo pants people.
Oh.
And he was like, these are the kind of people who are like, Lamar's great and all, but there's just something about Joe Flacco.
No, Joe Flacco. You can trust him. You can trust that haircut.
He protected the football.
You can set your clock to his haircut.
Pocket passer.
Awareness. Leader on the field.
Oh, man. Ryan, you definitely would know if you saw him. In the 48 Hours. Oh, man. Something. All right. We're 12 minutes in. Should we talk lacrosse now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. So we're going to do, we got 2 ideas, 2 segments, and then we'll wrap up with 2025 recap. First, we're going to do New Year's resolutions for a team or teams, if you have multiple of your choice. So you're going to make a New Year's resolution for one team going into 2026. It can be however you want it to be. They're going to be better at something. Maybe a player is going to get healthy. A great season for a particular coach. Going to get their swagger back. However you want to approach it. It's a New Year's resolution, New Year, New Me for the team of your choice going into 2026. So that's what we're going to do first. Anybody want to start, lead us off? I can go.
Yeah. I mean, I want to, but yeah.
All right. My New Year's resolution for the team of my choice, I'm going to pick the Princeton Tigers going into 2026. And I could go with this from multiple directions. I could go from the Ryan point of view of mentioning Princeton's records against their major competition going into 2026. I mentioned this the other.
I mentioned that once an episode.
Yeah, Ryan mentions it once an episode. I was discussing this with someone a couple of days ago, and I actually ran down the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but the last time Princeton beat Maryland, Syracuse, or Cornell was in April of 2018. That was the George Bond shuts down Jeff Teague game. That's how far removed we are. That's the last time Princeton beat. That's the last time Princeton beat Cornell. They have not beat Cornell since COVID, and they lost them in 2019 as well. Been a lot of close games in there, but also some that have not. There was the infamous tax cut game that Safe was at, where they just butchered it in the last 10 seconds.
They were hyped.
Oh man, do they have Cornell and Cuse at home this year, don't they?
Definitely Cuse, because that's the
That's the
late
Friday night.
February game. We're gonna go to that, and then we're gonna start, March.
And then I think they have Cornell, because that was 2 years ago, the Princeton Cornell game.
2024.
So that game should be. So, and then they go to Maryland, but they host Syracuse, North Carolina, and
Penn State.
Cornell. They host Penn State, yeah, because they beat Penn State.
They host Penn State too. So they host Penn State, host Syracuse, host UNC, host Rutgers, host Cornell.
It's a hell of a home schedule. If you're, I don't have to tell them.
Yeah, Maryland's their big road game.
If you're a Tiger fan, get out to 1952 this year. They should play one of those games in Princeton Stadium.
What would be surprised the Syracuse game is they've sent the Syracuse game to Princeton Stadium more times than not. The last one in 2023 was like the exception, the norm. Usually, like when I was in college, both times Syracuse played at Princeton, both times were at Princeton Stadium.
Maybe we should get on the phone. Maybe we should get on the phone to Madeline. Be like,
I love their football. I go run there a lot. Like you can kind of like run it looks like the Pentagon. Like it's just like perfectly fit right there. It's just like, and it's like in this hill, so it doesn't like take over this whole area. And then they have like the whole indoor facility with like the trophies and stuff. It's gorgeous. Like I don't know.
Princeton Stadium's funny because it's a mini Rutgers stadium. It was built around the same time.
It's kind of got a horseshoe vibe to it.
It has the one on
the
double decker 2-tier on one side on the right hand side.
Yeah, it's mini Rutgers Stadium, and it makes sense because both of them were built at the same time. But it is kind of funny.
No, yeah,
it's a good facility for lacrosse, especially if you want to play a game there. Like if you could get a good 5,000-6,000 people there, you can have a nice atmosphere in the lower bowl. Maybe they won't just because it's early in the year. I don't know if that's the Syracuse game used to be played later, so that's why they played it. They should play one of those games at Princeton Stadium. The Cuse thing, the usage of the Friday night this year is Cuse is playing Maryland Friday night. I presume Friday night. It's a Friday. They haven't announced the time, but I would assume that has to be for TV. ESPN or ACC network.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe ESPNU's maybe making that happy hour lacrosse into an actual kind of package.
Well, they try this every couple of years where they're like, let's do, what if we do Wednesdays or what if we do Thursdays? And it's a good idea. I just think the coaches hate it.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're going to play Saturday at 1 o'clock, which
at noon or 1.
Yeah, we have this conversation.
We're getting frisky too.
Friday and Sunday need to be utilized much more as far as class goes, which I think Sunday is early in the because that first weekend is the first weekend. I think it's like split half and half between Saturday and Sunday. I think there's quite a few games that first weekend on Sunday, the February the 1st.
Yeah, QSBU's on Sunday.
Yeah, there's of course quite a few games on Sunday as opposed to just Saturday. So maybe look, you should play Sunday. Me and Safe bang this drum all the time. The Big Ten moving off the Sunday night package, I think, is just dumb. That's how they made their name.
That's their brand.
that was their brand. And I know the coaches didn't like it, and I know that it was a true home field advantage playing Sunday night at home was a real home field advantage for those teams. But that's good. That's what you want. It's kind of like what you want.
Those are the best atmospheres. Pans are on a Sunday night.
Yeah, Ohio State now, especially with that new facility, a Sunday night would be. Rutgers was always great on a Sunday night. I know Maryland and Hopkins tried to avoid it basically whenever possible. But yeah, I don't know. I think Friday night is opportune time. I think Cuse Maryland Friday night at the Dome will be absolutely electric if that happens. But anyhow, back to Princeton. So I could go in the Ryan direction, which he brings me once an episode. It's been 20 years since they beat Maryland. It's been when was the last time they beat Cuse, Ryan?
2009. They were playing at Giant Stadium.
Like the old Giant Stadium.
The old Giant Stadium.
Not MetLife, the old Giant Stadium. So that was
Cuse
certainly
in the next year open MetLife, and then everything went downhill from there for the Tigers. But yes, old Giant Stadium. I was a senior in high school.
Old Giant Stadium had character. MetLife is just a.
Yeah, how long till they're going to be begging for a dome to have Final Fours and WrestleManias? They give it another 6
We
years.
need
tops
right. Everybody. There's another thing. Everybody needs a palace. Our stadium's a palace. What if you just built a freaking concrete box where people can pack in like sardines and yell at the other
I know
team?
it's such a shame with this new Bills stadium. I mean, it's great that the Bills are getting a new stadium, but it's like it's a SoFi with the roof taken off. At least they have
no roof. That's ethical.
At least no roof. But it's like, come on, Ralph Wilson Stadium. That was the whole point. It was a hole in the ground. That's what made it awesome. Swirling winds. That's the ultimate home field advantage there.
The Browns are building a stadium with a roof. What are you? Yeah, what are you doing?
Your whole gimmick is that you play right off of Lake Erie.
It's the dog pound. But no, we need a palace in Cleveland. Like, come on, Jimmy, give me a break.
A palace to host Final Four is right next to the airport. And I've been to that airport. It's a nice airport, but like, where the hell is everyone going to go in that area next to that airport? It's a mess over there by Cleveland Hopkins Airport. It's like, how are they going to fit a football stadium there? To host Final Fours and WrestleManias. That's the whole thing about this. It's Final Fours and WrestleManias. Kansas City. Like, look, I respect you. I know the land's out there by Kansas Speedway.
Why should be
home? That's the ultimate home field advantage for Mahomes and them playing in like 10-degree weather with the wind whipping off the plains.
Also, one Final Four. You're going to get one Super Bowl.
One Final Four.
You're going to get one Final Four. And you're probably going to get one WrestleMania.
Maybe. Not even WrestleMania. You'll get a PLE because all the WrestleManias are going to be in Saudi Arabia within 2
or Las
years.
Vegas. Yeah. It's like you're not even going to get that. You're going to get one Super Bowl. One. They haven't been back to Dallas for the Super Bowl in like 15 years.
After that ice storm.
They haven't been to Minneapolis in 10, and they haven't been back to Indianapolis in Indianapolis is like a city custom
and everyone
built.
loved Indianapolis.
Yes, because Indianapolis is like a city custom built to host major events. Like everything is like right there.
Yeah.
So you'll get one.
And you're not going to get a WrestleMania. You're going to get like tables, ladders, and chairs.
Or SummerSlam or something. Jeez. All right, so Princeton. I'll get on. My New Year's resolution. Princeton has been, a big theme of Princeton the last couple of years has been they've been very young. Young talent, really exciting players on the offensive side of the ball. Kind of a big part of the selling part of last season, but especially this season for Princeton is all that experience is back. We've got all our scoring back. We've got all of these guys who were freshmen and sophomores the last 2 years are now, they've got that, burnished playoff experience. They've been in the big battles against Cuse and Maryland and Cornell, all these teams. This is the year we're loading up for. We made the Final Four in 22, took some lumps there with injuries and in youth, but now we're getting going. Part of, I think, that inexperience is, when you're a youthful, exuberant bunch, you just want to score goals. You want to have fun. You just, you get in a shootout and it's just, let's just shoot our way out of it, shoot out of trouble. Let's win 18-17. And it's, the coolest thing on turf. And yes, that Syracuse game in the quarterfinal at Hofstra was one of the best games I think I've probably ever seen. Loved it. As a neutral, Princeton's some of the best bang for your buck in the entire sport. They're awesome. But I remember that 2022 Princeton team, and the offense was great. And remember they recreated Sowers in the aggregate, and they could score with you. But I remember the real thing that we loved about that 2022 Princeton team. That team was physical. That team was nasty. That team had horses in the middle of the field. That team could run with you. My New Year's resolution for Princeton is we're going to go back to the old me. A Princeton team that is physical, can really compete in the middle of the field with Maryland and Cornell and Syracuse and all these, and Notre Dame and all these guys. And they're going to be a physical team that takes it to the opponent. And maybe, when we get to 14 or 15 goals, that's it. We shut it down. We're going to win 14-11. We're going to win 15-12. If, we're in a firefight with somebody, we're going to lean on our defense. We're going to lean on our goalie. We're going to get some stops. And then we're going to give back down to the offense on the other end of the field. I think Princeton's been an incredibly entertaining team the past couple of years. But I don't think that defense has been good enough, with some great goalie play, it should be said, to win them a national championship or make a Final Four. So I think my for Princeton is they got to get back to that identity that they had in 2022. They had two-way midfielders, Jake Stevens and Sam English and all those. I'm not saying they have those guys on this year's team because those guys were tremendous players. And Sam English went to 2 Final Fours. He's like the only guy to go to a Final Four as a Syracuse Orangeman and a Princeton Tiger. I think Princeton's got to get back to physical, mean. We can compete physically with anybody. I mean, think about that Maryland game they played in the Final Four. They lost, but they took a massive chunk out of Maryland going into that Monday championship game. I think Princeton's got to get back to that balance. 18-17, listen, I'm not going to complain. I mean, those Princeton games they played against Cornell and Cuse last year were incredible. But I think if Princeton's going to get over the hump back to where they think they should be, and they have all the talent to make a Final Four, win a title, they need to be a more balanced team again. And they need to kind of redevelop that mean streak that they had in 2022. So that's my New Year's resolution for Princeton. That
was the thing that struck me the most when I saw them play that 2022 season, the Rutgers game, especially. Like, I think I haven't not seen them all 2021 season, and everybody cut short 2020. Like, a lot of people didn't know what we were going to get with the Ivy League teams. But yeah, I remember 2022 Princeton. I was just surprised by just how fast they were. Like, it just felt like they were able to get to the ball quicker, just turn the corner, or just looked more athletic than the Rutgers that game. It was a good Rutgers team. And then on top of that, they were just I guess meaner is the best way to say it, but just just really physical. They did not hesitate to fight for the ground balls and stuff like that. I think probably injuries is probably the reason that maybe Princeton hasn't gotten back to the Final Four. But yeah, Jake, that's a great resolution. Just be tougher. That mentality of just be really aggressive. Really help them, propel them to great heights in 2022. And if they can recapture that spirit, that would be be fit them well. I'll go real quick just to stay in the Ivy. Jake, Ryan, I did all I could for Harvard this year to get them a face-off guy. Without tampering, just up to the line like a good lawyer. Just get up to the line.
You did outright mention Ross Prince's name.
Oh, absolutely, that name. Hypothetically, I think
if Ross Prince just got in the transfer portal,
I think you'd be a good fit. So just make the call, Coach Byrne. But yeah, and it's a great. Overall, I thought it was a very positive season for Harvard. A heartbreak loss to Syracuse in the first round, notwithstanding. Definitely loss of Sam King is going to be, pretty impactful. But they, returned a lot with Spidell, Malone, and Ip, bringing over 20 goals each. Especially Spidell's really looks like he'd be a potential hammer. And they're bringing in a good amount of incoming freshmen on defense. But my New Year's resolution, because we said it a lot, if you can't win the faceoff, win the war. And by that I mean wing play. If you can just get the possession, regardless of what your faceoff stats is, if you win the possession, that's a win for you. But also just eat up as much time as you can to make sure that they don't get into the offense quickly. Didn't really happen a lot. There wasn't too many close games when I go over Harvard's season, but it really bit them in the Cuse game. Now I know the penalty, with the 3-man up goals in that Syracuse 6-0 run, but the guy, especially I just feel that from 10-28 points to 9-49, where Syracuse cut it from 11-6 to 11-9, that had to have been somewhere where you just whether it's a timeout or just something just to regroup, we just gotta just eat up as much clock as possible. And I just feel with their team last year, just such a potent offense. Defense wasn't outstanding, but 32nd in adjusted defensive efficiency, according to Lax reference. But yet their adjusted faceoff was bottom 10 of the entire NCAA division. It was it's such a weight on them. And again, wasn't determinative. They got into the tournament, was able to essentially have Syracuse on the ropes, but for the massive run. And I thought they showed great character and being able to respond and even take it into overtime. Just given that wave and how the dome was rocking, it just felt Cuse was just going to win it out in regulation. So I give them, credit for that. But I feel like, if they just could just clean up face-off, or at the very least, like extend the that transition period, so like they're like starting their offense with 60 seconds or something, instead of like getting right into it, clean face-off, and going right into offense. So that's my New Year's resolution. If you can't win the face-off, win the war, either extend the transition before they comfortably get into offense, or win the possession by increased wing play. So hopefully I think this is a good team. Should be a good race in the Ivy, and still feel like Princeton maybe the class of the Ivy, especially with Cornell having to make some major adjustments. But I feel Harvard has a shot. I think winning it outright, but like a return to the tournament should just be bare minimum for this team. So
yeah, I think if you're Harvard, I mean, we always mention with face-off play, it's like you don't have to be great at face-off play, and sometimes when teams, it's like if we win 48% of our face-offs, that may not look good, but 48% of the face-offs in a given game is like what, 2 to 3 wins. If you have a really good team across the field, you can lose 13-10 and be fine. It's not ideal. You're going to have to make adjustment elsewhere. When you win 40% of your face-offs, like Harvard did, then we're getting into, you're losing 6 to 7 possessions a game just off the face-off alone, and the body blows that does to your defense. I think if I'm Harvard, defensively, their average possession length, the average length of their possession defensively last year was about 48 seconds, ranked 28th in the country. When I think that's not bad, but I think if you're struggling with the face-off, I think you got to think differently defensively. Of we don't want. I mean, we have to be more aggressive. Like cause takeaways. That's not generally been the identity of Jerry Burns' defense and how they play. But you can't kind of eat long possessions defensively if you're losing the face-off too, because you're already playing more defense because of the volume of possessions. I think you might need to change up how you play defense. Obviously, be aggressive off the wings. Maybe just be more aggressive in general defensively. Like we need to press out. We need to cause turnovers. We need to flip it. And I don't necessarily want to say that they should do this, because their offense has been terrific the past couple of years, and that's been the strength of their team that got them to the NCAA tournament last year. Their offense they play about as fast as anybody. I mean, they are really we talked about it. I mean, they're their games are kind of crazy because they go pedal to the metal, and they are unafraid. They will throw behind the backs, and they'll throw no pass. It's a real, that's just kind of how they feel. It's very free flowing, and it's super fun to watch when it works, and there's a real confidence you can tell. So I don't want to say play slower offensively, because I don't know if does that kind of take away from what you are, but it does feel like they play so fast offensively. Their defensive identity is, again, it's not like they're 28th in the country in terms of possession. Not bad at all, but they are taking some time in terms of how long they're playing defense for, and they're win 40% of the faceoffs. It's just a lot. It's just a lot to deal with if you're a team. And I mean, we'll see. The faceoff thing has been, I mean, dude, Harvard hasn't been inside the top 40 in adjusted faceoff efficiency since 2018, when they were 36th.
Yeah.
And this is decades going back to when Chris Woodrick was there. 43%, 2015, 40%, 39.7, 2016, 37.1, 2017, which is maybe about as bad as mark as I've seen from a big team. Got up to the best they've been is 48% in 2023. I mean, that's just, I'll be honest, for a team of that level, that's unacceptable. You're Harvard. And I think this gets back to Safe's point about, the transfer and everything. It's
just find some.
I mean, you
want to go to Harvard. That's what you got to say to them.
Find anybody. There's got to be someone out there in high school who can play faceoff for you better than what you've been getting, because you've been getting just.
I just did a quick math here.
It's
54%. 54th is their average since 2015.
And in 2015, how many D1 teams were there?
I was gonna say it's probably like at least 7 less, maybe 7, 6, I think.
I think like around 73.
Richmond
was
Richmond started.
Richmond started. Iona, Mercyhurst, Queens,
Lemoyne and Merrimack.
Merrimack,
LIU joined.
LIU. That's 6. So yeah, so we're talking.
But we did have Furman.
Bonaventure. Did you say that?
Bonaventure. The only ones we lost were from 2015. The only one we lost was Furman, because Lindenwood was like only.
Lindenwood came and went.
That was their first year. That's 2015.
Yeah. So basically, if you think about it, they've been close to the bottom 10 in adjusted faceoff in like 6 or 7 seasons out of the last 10. Again, their best year is 36. That's just not. That's been a routine problem for them. For a team that's, like under Wojcik had some really good offenses. Under Byrne, of course, they've been top 10 in offense the last 2 years. Defensively, they have not been great under Byrne, but it's also like, how do you measure their defense when they're just losing gobs and gobs of faceoffs every game? I don't know. 30th in defense when you're 64th in faceoffs seems kind of not bad. So
I got so many ideas. Yeah, just make it collective and just go down. Like, just give all the NIL money to one. And if he says no, then go to the number 2 face-off guy. So you can...
Number 4.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that not like your number 1 priority in recruiting too? Like, how do you not just go like, who's the number 1 high school recruiting guy? We have to go all out for him. I'm not going to say like they recruit good players and they've got a good program going, but I just feel like that should be like your number 1 priority.
Yeah,
like our number 1 thing we're going for in recruiting is we're going to the number 1 face-off guy's house. And we're, just we're here day 1. We're camping out at midnight.
Just look at New Haven. They got TD. Changed everything. I mean, they won the title the year before, but that.
Oh, well, that 2019 year, yeah, he was.
But still, he returned. Because a large part because of it. So.
For sure.
All right, my New Year's resolution is going to be a little bit more general. And it'll be a little bit cliche, you'll see where I'm getting with this in a second. But mine's going to be for Richmond. And it's going to be take that next step to greatness, as Quintesnik always says. Because I think Richmond's on the cusp of something very big here. And I think especially in this day and age, I was thinking about this, when the NCAA women's volleyball tournament was going on and seeing, oh, great, another tournament with a bunch of SEC schools dominating. Across the board in NCAA sports, with the exception of men's college hockey, which is its own weird thing where it's hilarious how these schools in Michigan and Minnesota and Colorado end up beating Big Ten and Hockey East teams to win national championships when absolutely zero of the college hockey media sphere even covers them the whole season. So college hockey is its own weird thing, and men's college soccer's another one. That's, as I like to call it, Jake the People's NCAA tournament, because if you have a moment, look and see which teams were seeded for the NCAA men's soccer tournament. It is wild. That's really like the one tournament where anyone can win it. So, of course, there's one by a Big Ten school against an ACC school. But across the NCAA sports this year, because I was seeing the arguments of, oh, look, Vanderbilt and Indiana had Heisman Trophy candidates. This shows that the NIL era means anyone can compete. And then you realize, they're just in the Big Ten and SEC. And every sport, all the Final Fours are ACC, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, UConn, the Ivy League. Seems like a lot of money. It's kind of as great as the NIL era has been in, helping athletes make what they're worth, as well as spread talent, at least in the bigger conferences to different schools.
Yeah.
Across the board, it's come at a major hit to the mid-majors. And you even see it with like basketball scheduling. Mid-majors are getting scraps now in terms of scheduling. Like there used to be big time mid-major games against high major programs. Those have gone to dodo bird. Unless you're Gonzaga, you're not getting any P5 opponents coming in. Richmond has a big opportunity to buck the trend. And, we saw Denver a couple of years ago make the Final Four 2 years ago as well. But they had that championship pedigree already. They, that's just coming off the Bill Tierney era.
And they're in the Big
foundation
East.
Was in place for them.
They're in the Big East.
Richmond, what's up?
Denver's also in the Big East.
Yeah.
It's so. I mean, it's Denver for sure, but they are still in like a, notable conference.
Yeah, and Denver, and going again with the wacky world of men's hockey, that's another bread and butter of them, national contender every year in that too. So Denver's its own little special case as well. Richmond has a real opportunity to win the hearts of a casual sports fan in May. If they could get to Memorial Day weekend, they're not just bucking a trend in lacrosse where it's really been since COVID dominated by the ACC, Big Ten, and Ivy League. You're opening this up where all of college sports has been dominated by the big money conferences or big money schools. And I'm telling you, their performance in the quarterfinal last year, if they were playing anyone but Cornell, they were probably getting into the Final Four last year. And with all this momentum heading into this season, I think if they finish the deal and make that next step to the Final Four, it's really going to capture the imagination of a lot of sports fans. And I know it's lacrosse, so it's not that much that transcends into the general consciousness. You saw it with the Kavanaughs in Notre Dame. You saw it with the Thompsons in Albany. But I think there's something there if they could be a legitimate national title contender and live up to the hype and get themselves to a Final Four. And I think if they get a semifinal against a Maryland or a Syracuse or a Princeton, it's going to bring a lot of attention to it in terms of a David versus Goliath type of matchup. So I think for Richmond, my New Year's resolution is take it one step further, get that Final Four bid, and, might open up the way for mid-majors to kind of, be reinvigorated in college lacrosse going forward. Where, hey, let's just not just have this as a, nice thing to have in the spring, but hey, you know what? Richmond shows we could still compete in this like we used to.
I mean, that's a great take, Ryan, especially given the championship is at Charlottesville. Could you imagine how great the program impact would, how big of an impact that would be, like, for them to be playing VA Stadium for the Final Four? Like, just, the size of the alumni network in the area, tens of thousands of alums. I'm not saying like, oh, come in, but like something like that. Yeah, I hear you. Especially because like people love Cinderella stories, but this is almost kind of Gonzaga-esque in that it's not just a flash in the pan one season thing. Like you can kind of see this team progressing, and the success that they had last year was definitely a breakthrough. But yeah, this kind of like storyline kind of builds the narratives. People look for these sports producers, Jake, as you were mentioning, like this is the kind of stuff, and this would be a great story, especially having the championship game in your home state and this rare opportunity. Yeah, that would be a great story.
Yeah, I think they've put themselves, we talk about it a lot, they've put themselves in a very unique, advantageous position. You look at their schedule, they play a Big Ten ACC schedule. I mean, like they play Maryland, they play Virginia, they played Notre Dame, they played Duke before, they play Notre Dame this year. So they play, who else do they play that I feel like they play one more. I mean, they play Georgetown. Like if they're non-con, they have 5. They play Cornell.
They play Notre Dame this year, right? Oh,
they play Notre Dame. So they play Virginia, Notre Dame, Maryland, Cornell, Georgetown. I mean, they play 5.
Carolina in the tournament.
They play. Yeah, I mean, they play 5 top 10-ish kind of teams. I mean, out of their non-con, they have how many games this year? I think 14. They play 5 non-cons. Out of 9 non-con games, they play half of what they play is elite competition. I mean, they are in for a number of reasons, Like, because of the success that they've had, it's the, you know, a lot of it they deserve the credit for. Like, they, you know, the success that they have year in, year out in their league makes them someone that these big teams want to play. And they have the league that they're in. You know, a Towson, for example, in the CAA has what, 3 more conference games they have to play. That's 3 fewer dates that they have available on their schedule to play some of these teams. So Richmond being in the league that they're in, or, well, you know, even think back to a Loyola from years gone by, different sort of program, but nonetheless, I think has kind of, the Patriot League over time has kind of hurt their scheduling, and Loyola doesn't play kind of the teams they used to play. Some of that also is just the kind of fall off that they have had as a program. Richmond's in a enviable position. They are, in terms of from a mid-major perspective, everyone wants to have that kind of schedule, because that's the kind of schedule that can get you in the conversation for NCAA bids. Or look, they were top 10 in RPI last year. You know, so like they played in the 8-9 game. Delaware a couple years ago, Delaware made the quarterfinals in 2022. I think we kind of forget this. I think that's an interesting subplot, I think, going forward for the A10 in 2026, is with Delaware joining the league. Delaware was kind of in the position that Richmond's in a couple years ago. They made the quarterfinals in 2022. They beat Georgetown. 2023, Delaware went from the quarterfinals to playing in the play-in game the next year, winning the play-in game, having to play Duke, the 1 seed, and they almost beat Duke. They had, I think, the lead in that game in the fourth quarter, and they had the ball with a chance to tie, to send it to overtime in the first round of that game. That's where Delaware was just a couple years ago. But it tells you that Delaware was having to be in the play-in game in those spots. Richmond last year, with the team they had, was playing in the 8-9 matchup against North Carolina, a game that a bunch of people, myself included, picked them to win, and saw them as the favorite. And they easily could have, you know, you flip one game on their schedule last year against Duke or Cornell or whoever, they would have been hosting a first-round home game in the NCAA tournament. But yeah, I think certainly that's you know, it's like they're in the enviable. You want to take advantage of that. You have the opportunity, like you have opportunities that other teams not necessarily getting, and a lot of that, again, it's not luck. I mean, it's down to their own success that they've had. You want to cash in on the opportunities you're being given. They get to play Notre Dame in Chicago at the site. They get to play Notre Dame in Chicago at the site of the women's Final Four this year, correct? The women's Final Four, I think, is that Northwestern this year? I'm pretty sure. But either way, you get to play Notre Dame in Chicago. I mean, that's a pretty big, you know, it's a pretty cool neutral site. Like, that's a pretty cool, you know, opportunity spotlight for your program to be in. And so you get to play Notre Dame in Chicago. The Final Four is in Virginia. The quarterfinals in a couple of years are at your stadium. I don't know if is it 2027 that the quarterfinals are at? Because this year the quarterfinals are Brown, I think, I want to say, and maybe Annapolis again. I'm not sure. But the quarterfinals are at Robins Stadium in a couple of years. I know that for sure. I think 2027, 2028. So it's a lot of opportunities.
You can confirm 2028.
2028, the quarterfinals. Where are the quarterfinals at the next couple of years?
This year.
Okay, so believe me, believe me. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I was just answering Jake, right? Do you want the quarterfinal sites?
Yeah, where are they at the next?
Yeah, I got the same page up.
Got it.
Okay, yeah. So 2026, you'll never believe this, but Hofstra has it again, as does Delaware. 2027 is Annapolis and Providence at Chris's favorite stadium, Brown Stadium. And then 2028 is at Hofstra and Richmond.
Okay. Pretty soon we're going to have to be figuring out. I mean, I don't know. They announced it, you know, a year in advance this year, so. But Final Four sites for 2029. We'll see. We'll see how Scott Stadium does at UVA. If it, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself. I did this thing a couple years ago, you guys might have heard of, where I talked about the potential success of East Hartford at changing how the NCAA awarded Final Four sites. Now, to be fair, true East Hartford has never been tried.
No, exactly. They didn't give the resources needed.
But nonetheless,
Those thinking capitalists in Boston and in Foxborough and Philadelphia never letting
it was hamstrung by COVID. You know?
100%. Yeah. I mean, the first year was just, I mean, it was nothing. Then the second year, they also didn't get,
Remember, gas was like $4. It's crazy.
The economic conditions of play.
Doomed to fail. What's
East Hartford.
Come on, you had a Final Four with 2 Ivy League schools, Rutgers, and making Maryland go all the way up to Connecticut.
It was just, man. We were just hit hard, So yeah, suffice to say, I don't think East Hartford will be back on the rotation again. But maybe if Virginia does really well, could that encourage some sites to get back involved? I mean, Maryland certainly was looking to get out when they got out. Rutgers, same deal. But who knows? Brandon Scott, listen, man, Baltimore's back, man. Maybe bring the Final Four back with it. A lot of good things going on in Baltimore. I think the Final Four would be a pretty good thing to add in there. Maybe I'll throw him a line, see what happens. So, but yeah,
we gotta get Stavi on it.
Yeah, that's true. House just, I love House takes like a 1 year off max from the quarterfinals. Like maybe 1 year we won't host it. Listen, they do a good job. Now, what are they going to do if they with the new the new Hofstra Stadium? They were talking.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Because they were talking about building a new lacrosse stadium at Hofstra. Interesting to think about. What that might do. Is it going to be small? I think it's going to be smaller than Seward, isn't it? I think is what they were saying.
I think it is, because Seward, of course, was originally a football stadium.
And the only time Seward gets anywhere close to filling up that thing is during the quarterfinals.
Yeah, quarterfinals and graduation.
Yeah, I mean, they don't, Hofstra's home attendance. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not, filling up a 10, 11, 12,000 seat stadium.
Speaking of Hofstra lacrosse, did you know that this is going to be Seth Tierney's 20th season as head coach for the Hofstra Pride?
I mean, it's going to be his 8th season doing the PLL during the summer while, everyone else is recruiting, which is, I mean, just, it's a lot. It's a lot of time doing another job, full-time job, while, during like the busiest time of year for coaches. But listen, we're just humble lacrosse podcasters.
Journalists. Is this the year Navy's just because I'm thinking of future sites? Is this the year Navy's new lacrosse center is going to be open? Is that projected to be open this year? I saw some things that said projected 2026, but I can't see anything for sure.
Navy's interesting because Navy's got a new AD that I think they've either hired or are going to hire. And Gladchuk was always about like events. They never got the Final Four there, but I absolutely buy that it would be something that Gladchuk would have wanted to have there. He was big, kind of like, is the new AD going to be as interested in maybe like making a potential bid for that? Look, I've said it before. I'm not necessarily big on the permanent site thing unless you can really pool everything together, the resources needed. I think it's worth a shot, though. I think Annapolis is absolutely worth a shot as the Final Four host. I know that there are considerations against it. It's kind of cramped down there, and you're going to have a bunch of people coming in, and you got to have 4 teams with hotels and all that kind of stuff. So, go ahead.
What about? Sorry to interrupt you. Press box says starting construction 2026, expected to open 2027. So maybe in time for the quarters. What if they have all the quarters, both games, both dates at Navy? Maybe that would be something that you could maybe sell because maybe you're not ready to give them the entire Final Four because potentially, I know, getting over 35,000 guaranteed, it's still like
Continue your thought.
Yeah, but like having them host the entire quarterfinal weekend and that be something that Navy maybe could swing that wouldn't compete with graduation, right? That's the big reason why the Final Four can't be there.
Yeah.
You have a natural home for lacrosse in Maryland that would embrace that. I think, this is like a $22 million facility, lacrosse standalone.
I mean, how many people were there when I was there? Was it like close to 20,000?
Yeah. It was like
this.
I think the only case against that is the reason why they do the split quarterfinals is to cut down travel costs. So you have a second option for some of these schools to travel to. So that's the only thing. But at least it's kind of central, though. So it might alleviate some of it.
Who played it? I guess Hofstra this year. The thing is, they don't consider travel in that. Like this year, they did because they had Syracuse and Cornell go to, and Princeton go to Hofstra. But they once sent Maryland, instead of going to Hofstra, they sent Maryland to Ohio, and they sent Maryland and Virginia to Ohio State. And Maryland's bus broke down on the way back, and they didn't get home until like 4 a.m. on Monday. Like the travel cost thing is just like if they did what Ryan does, where he looks at the quarterfinals like, oh, they should send these teams there. They rarely do that.
I know. Like Syracuse, Syracuse was playing at Hofstra for the first time in 16 years this May.
Like, they sent Denver to. Denver.
Again, I'm thinking in NCAA speak, not actual reality-based speak.
I think that's a good idea, Safe. I'm intrigued by it. The other thing I was going to say, I'm not sure if you could make it swing it, but I was just thinking about this on like the hotel kind of amenity type things. You could potentially hotel them in Baltimore and bus to Annapolis.
Yeah, what is that like? 45 minutes? 50 minutes?
Less, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember when I was in 7th grade, we did a trip down to Baltimore, and then we drove down to Annapolis. It was
getting from Center City to the Link is like 20 minutes.
It's 30. It's 35. I think it's no traffic. Yeah, you got to consider it. But it's like no traffic. It's like half an hour Baltimore.
Get a couple of state troopers in front. It's Maryland. It's just.
So I think what is the capacity of the women's Final Four? Do we confirm if that's in Chicago?
Martin.
It is
Stadium.
at Northwestern Stadium. Yeah.
What is the capacity? What's the capacity on that?
It's 32.9.
Dude, if the women's final, if they got Chicago is hosting that Notre Dame Richmond game, and the women's Final Four, I think that's something to monitor as far as a future men's Final Four.
I'm looking at the wrong Martin Stadium.
Yeah, no. Northwestern Stadium, the one on the lake it's 12,000 right now, but I think that's temporary while the new Ryan Stadium's being built.
What is the new Ryan?
I think that is a permanent.
What is the new Ryan Stadium?
It's 2,000 permanent seats. It's temporarily expanded to 12,000 while the new football stadium's being built. But I think that capacity will stay in place for the women's Final Four next year, because I don't think the new Ryan Stadium is going to be done yet.
The new Ryan Field is going to be 35,000. The new one.
Okay, the women's Final Four is confirmed for Martin Stadium, though.
No, but I'm saying that like if we're talking just that Chicago, I mean it's Northwestern, but I'm saying I think if the Final Four, if the women's Final Four is successful there, which I think it should be, I don't see it's I think that's a good location. I mean Northwestern obviously will probably be there. I think that might be a spot to consider for potentially hosting the men's Final Four in a couple years. Once the new stadium's built, 35,000 is kind of perfect, honestly, as far as size goes for the Final Four. So I think that is something to look at as far as we're always talking about what is a new kind of, location we could see getting involved here. And if they're hosting the women's, once the new stadium is built, I could see that
even though it's on Northwestern's grounds, you could have Notre Dame hosted. That is like, the host.
Couldn't you just have Northwestern host? Does it have to be a men's host?
Well, they could have, I think, because technically Temple is hosting the men's.
Yeah, doesn't Temple? No, they have Drexel host it. Technically, don't they? So doesn't Drexel?
Let me see, because I just saw a thing.
Safe when they go to Philly for the Final Four, doesn't Drexel technically host it?
Drexel for the men's, yeah.
Yeah. Usually they rotate between Drexel and Penn. It's going to be Drexel the next time. So it does have to be a school that sponsors it.
You could do Notre Dame, I guess.
Yeah.
So wait, is this Brian? Am I doing this right? Is Martin Stadium kind of perpetually going to be somewhat small, like 15K?
So this is safe. This is the
Yeah.
interim. It's the interim football stadium until the
Okay.
new one
It's
gets
the
built.
permanent women's lacrosse stadium, temporary football stadium.
Right? Yeah, it was saying like expected 15, really only held 12, and then you were just in these added like bleacher seats they're thinking about. So
So yeah, it's going to be the home of the Chicago Tempest of women's elite rugby and the Chicago Stars of the NWSL, and it will be the Northwestern women's. It is the Northwestern women's. It's been the lacrosse venue forever. But I think Ryan is saying that it's going to stay at 12,000 even after the football team moves to the new.
Well, no, not necessarily that as much as when the women's Final Four takes place, it's still going to be there because I think the football team's still playing there next season.
Okay, so the women's. Well, also they're not going to host the women's Final Four in a freaking 2,000.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to look really good for the women's.
But if the NWSL club's going to be there too, then that's probably going to be the norm.
Yeah, I think 12,000 it's going to stay 12,000 for the now maybe for college
for like
events.
regular season games they might go back to 2,000, but then they'll bring in the temporary seating for the bigger events like that.
Temple's hosting, but they're playing at the Super Park.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, the 2027 and 2028 women's Final Fours.
Which, should be a good atmosphere.
2027 for the women is in Philly?
Yeah, Chester.
Sure, yeah, I mean, they've done that before. Where is it in 2028?
Also,
Chester, right? Back to back.
Oh, that's because freaking Foxborough doesn't have any other. They got to get out of Foxborough, dude. I'm sorry. It's not that I think everyone there wants is a good idea, and Philly allows you to do that. And I think, hey, if you went to Northwestern in the future, you could do the women's at the Martin Stadium, and you could do listen, I'm putting ideas together here. I'm just throwing suggestions out there. If Scott Stadium got in the rotation, you could do the women's at Audi Field. Granted, Audi Field's a bit out of the way. It's a public transportation type deal and not a parking type deal, as I know very well from my experience there. Though I did have a great time. Maryland scored 23 goals against Virginia. That was a fun day. So that's it'll be interesting to follow. Another thing for 2026, neutral site games continue to make a comeback. Granted, some of it, is the Corrigan sports. Let's just leave it at that. But you have Cornell playing Duke on Long Island. There we go from last pod. Duke's got an opponent locked, and they're playing Cornell. Cornell Duke on Long Island.
Sounds like the most Long Island possible thing conceivable.
Notre Dame Richmond in Chicago. Doesn't North Carolina have a couple? I think UNC has some neutral site games as well. UNC's playing Harvard at Spalding, which is like in my neck of the woods. I think it's like 20 minutes from me.
That screams Corrigan.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Crown Classic, they're playing Penn State.
Classic, baby.
So, yeah. Hey, listen.
Get yourself hyped for the Cannonsville 5K.
Maybe someone should bring back one. Maybe I don't know if anybody's got the money for that anymore. No. Josiah, you want to sponsor the return of the Big City Classic or the
Day Rivals?
Chicago, maybe in Chicago.
Baseball Classic. Maybe
they can put it at Chicago, the Bears' new stadium in Northwest Indiana.
Buddy, that's going to be built in Rockford, Illinois when all is said and done.
There's no way. There's no way they're moving the Bears to freaking Indiana. Like, give me a break. All right. Is that all for New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, that's all for New Year's resolutions.
All right. Segment 2.
Next segment will be a little quicker. It's Jake explain it.
So, we're gonna make some predictions for lacrosse in 2026. This can be as general as you'd like it to be. So you can go as broad with this or as specific. It's entirely up to you. This could be something about the sport as a whole. Could be about college, PLA, whatever you want to go. Or it could just be like, this team is going to win X amount of games, or this player is going to do this, yada, yada. It's entirely, the world is kind of your oyster with this. But we're going to make some predictions. One, maybe two. And we're going to, quote unquote, put them in the envelope. So we're just kind of, we're going to seal them up in the envelope. We're going to freeze the envelope like they did with David Stern in the draft lottery in 1985. And we're going to come back at the end of the season and we're going to see how we did. So this is, a little different too. Obviously, we're going to do, when we do our season preview pod, we're going to have our, Final Four predictions and Tourathon and all that. So this might be a little different here than just like, this team's going to make the Final Four. But if you want to do that, you are more than welcome to do that. Our predictions usually vary. Usually around this time of year in the past, we sometimes make one kind of bold prediction, which winds up being remarkably true. Past hits include me saying Jared Bernhardt had another level to hit the year he won the Tourathon. Ryan saying the Ivy League was going to have a resurgent year in 2022, come back out of COVID. Safe, I think, predicted on the number Johns Hopkins record in 2023. And then I think after that we kind of like slowed down and we didn't really hit on anything. I think last year or the year before that our predictions like kind of stunk. So we usually are like, it's boom or bust.
What are you talking about? Did you guys both pick Cornell from wire to wire?
Oh, true. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen, that's what you have. Senior lawyer advocating at all times.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Cornell, both at Cornell from the jump.
There's always at least one.
I think it was 2020. I think it was 2024 when, not to bring it up, both of you guys I think picked Penn State to win the title.
Yeah.
Just wrong. Look, wrong year. Just they made the Final Four before and after. It's the wrong year.
The sandwich at the year off.
Maybe come back to this in 6 months and be like, man, those guys did it again. They just absolutely nailed it. So, or if we didn't, you can just pretend it never happened. But we will come back to this towards the end of the season and see how we did. So we're gonna put a couple predictions in the envelope. Ryan, I'll start with you. What would you like to put in the envelope? Predictions for lacrosse in 20. Again, this could be as granular or as broad as you would like it to be.
Okay. Not to be a pessimist, but 0 new Division I men's lacrosse programs will be added. We're not going to be adding any friends to the pool. Sorry. I just think with the realities of the situation, with budget, tightening up the wallets a bit, I don't really see any new members to the D1 men's lacrosse fraternity at this juncture. Yeah, that's my prediction. That's one of my predictions for now.
Give us one more. I mean, that's a little,
Okay, that's a little bit. My other prediction, it's getting a little spicy. There will be at least 2 new openings in P3 programs, meaning ACC, Big Ten, Ivy.
He stole mine. That literally is exactly. That's literally exactly. At least 2 Big Ten ACC Ivy head coaching jobs open in 2026. I really wrote that down.
Oh man,
exactly. You're good. I'll come up with another one.
Great minds think alike, as I like to say.
Oh yeah.
I won't speculate on who or what, but I have a funny feeling the coaching carousel is going to be spinning this summer, to say the least.
I like it.
That was great. Okay. Team specific. Duke does not make the NCAA tournament this year. I just think what we've seen with the schedule, they're walking a tightrope in terms of like quality wins in general. A lot of those are going to be in conference. I think Syracuse is going to be tough. I actually think North Carolina, this may be the year that at least a quarterfinal run. They bring just so much back.
It freaking better be.
They bring so much back. Like I was going to maybe stick to the ACC. My other prediction, but I'll say that. And if you're hinging your NCAA tournament chances with a win over Cornell, which I don't think is going to be a given. I think Cornell may be not as good as last year. That'd be extremely difficult, but like it won't be like a major step back for them. And beating Virginia, I mean, by that alone, I think it may not be enough. Even if you win all your other non-conference games, unless there's something in there that becomes a surprise. I guess maybe they get Towson, and there's still a chance for Towson has a really slow schedule, right, Jake?
What do you mean, as far as like a at large?
Like another out of conference team that's fringe top 20. Like
okay, yeah. Towson. It's tough with the CAA schedule. Just they would probably have to win, like sweep through the CAA, which honestly, I mean, you got Stony Brook might be decent, Hofstra maybe, like
it's going to be tough with the CAA now with Delaware gone.
Like Towson could absolutely like sweep through the CAA this year. They did it last year, so that's kind of what they have to do to be top 20 probably. But it's possible.
And there's a chance that they could maybe be on Duke's schedule just because like both teams haven't released 2026. So, but like I said right now, I just think it's kind of a tightrope in terms of like what we know of their schedule. Maybe they surprise and have a bounce back season when you go 3-1 in ACC, and this looks like a dumb take. But right now, just not long on the Blue Devils. I actually think North Carolina does it. I think like the urgency.
What do we mean by does it? Like
does not disappoint. Like a quarterfinal run.
Is that not?
Where I think it still shows progression. He's got that class coming in. As long as you can.
I think there's two different things you're looking at here. What saves Joe Bresci's job, and what is
categorically Final Four. And I'm not. I think
a quarterfinal could save his job, but I also think a quarterfinal is not necessarily. That's
why I say categorically Final Four. You make it, they re-up.
Oh, yeah.
Quarterfinal, I think as you're saying, you're right. You leave the door open because maybe they say like, well, we got all this talent. Maybe if it's, but you leave the decision for somebody else. Like it make it much harder if you get back to the Final Four this year. And like I said, maybe this is it. They bring almost 90% of their return in production back. And say somehow still getting these recruits. Especially like, the Joe the Boss can recruit. And maybe it is like again the urgency factor because by the numbers, I think its contract runs out in 2026. I think Lars is the other one we were maybe thinking about. And again, maybe they re-up during the winter break, and for Lars at least maybe because it's not been as prolonged mediocrity or not excelling at the rate that the probably administrator wants. Like at Virginia, at least they've got Final Four titles since like North Carolina's been to the Final Four. But those are my two. I think Carolina makes a quarterfinal, and I was like, maybe we do a mid-season prediction, and like I really feel myself in like go Final Four. But I think urgency, how much they got back, just kind of maybe a week-ish a year in the ACC in terms of their biggest rival in Duke, and who knows what Virginia's going to have. Like I think North Carolina makes a quarterfinal. So those are my two. Duke doesn't make the tournament at all, and Carolina makes a quarterfinals.
All right. I'm going to say at least one non-Big Ten ACC Ivy team makes the Final Four in 2026. This really is me just deciding, once again, I have to go back to the old me, and I think I'm going to do the Georgetown thing again.
The return of the DMV. Yeah, Richmond or Georgetown.
It could be worse. It could be safe with Ohio State.
I'm leaving the door open to like maybe it's Richmond or maybe Army. I don't, like again, I sit and I don't know, Denver somehow comes, but really this is like I just, I gotta go back to the old me.
That was potentially going to be my other New Year's resolution. Like no more Mr. Nice Guy for a choice. It's just like. Don't think about the tournament. Like each game, that's all it is that season. Is that game and just like, finish the drill or whatever, like normal coach speak. This is the season.
No, and they are the team. They're the weird team where it's like the early part of the season is what matters to them more than anything else in a weird way. Because what's been killing them the past couple of years is starting February like 0-2 and having to recover, and the Big East is not giving them. I mean, look, they're going to be the only team in the Big East ranked in the preseason poll. I don't think Denver's going to be ranked, and I don't. Villanova might be decent again, but I don't see a lot of Marquette. Anybody else? I like what Bobby. I think Bobby's done a decent job at Providence, but I don't know that they're like on the cusp of a big breakthrough. So it's really dependent on for them. You got to beat Loyola week 1. That's a no kind of question about it. But then you've got Hopkins at home. I want to say, yeah. Then you have. They have more opportunities this year. They play Ohio State. They play Syracuse. I think they play Hopkins, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Richmond, and Cuse. I think you need. Well, I think we talked about this 3-2 probably, and that kind of 3-2 to feel safe about a top 5 seed in the NCAA. That gets you top 5 in that range. 2 and 3, you're probably more on that 6, 7, 8 range. Again, 1 and 4, and you're probably in AQ or bust, which again has not been a problem for them. They've won the AQ a million years in a row. So that's one. And my other, at least three teams that were at larges in the 2025 NCAA tournament. So at least 3 of the at-large teams in the 2025 tournament. So this would be Maryland. This would be Princeton. This would be Ohio State. This would be not Ohio State. Actually, I'll still go. At least 3 will not be NCAA tournament teams, and maybe forget about it. I'll just open it up to this. At least there will be at least 3 of the P3 leagues, or plus Georgetown in there. At least 3 of those teams that made the tournament in 2025 are not going to make it in 2026. We're going to have 3 new teams from the ACC, the Big Ten, Ivy, maybe the Big East, or pitching in there. At least 3 new teams. We looked at this like a couple months ago, and it's like on average from the big leagues, the turnover is like 4 teams year to year. I think it's this year at least 3 in those major leagues will have new teams. There will not be repeats. So I mean, look, I think Maryland, Princeton, Syracuse are all kind of NCAA tournament teams, but Ohio State, Penn State, Harvard, Duke. Probably not Carolina, but probably not Georgetown. But like Ohio State, Harvard, Duke, maybe Penn State. I could see maybe if they have like a maybe kind of fall back a bit. I don't think so. UNC maybe if they underachieve. I don't know. I think 3. There's gonna be 3 new teams in the field, at least from those leagues alone. Obviously, you might see more like from the mid-major type conferences. But I think at least 3.
Do you Rutgers make a run?
The schedule Ryan talking about the schedule. The schedule, they're kind of in that Duke situation. I'm not entirely with you with Duke. I could see a Duke missing. I think Johns Hopkins. I think Virginia, and one other team. Maybe it's an Ivy, like Dartmouth, maybe it's a Rutgers or Michigan. I think Hopkins gets back in. I think Virginia gets back in. I'm a little less sure just because of their schedule. Maybe Denver or maybe Yale. Then get the defense figured out. I don't know. I think there's going to be 3 teams that are. Maybe there's a surprise team in there. I think there's 3. That's usually kind of what it is. It's usually 2 to 3 teams. switch out year over year, and I think we're going to have that again. Again, there are certain teams. I think Maryland's going to be. I mean, look, I'm not going to be. Cornell, has had some bad luck on the bubble in years past. I'm not saying Cornell's going to miss the tournament, but I don't think they're like a lock for a seed necessarily. So we've seen it kind of go bad for them, but I don't think so. I think Cornell's going to be in. The only teams I'm like really confident are going to make it are Maryland, Syracuse, Princeton, and then to a lesser degree, Carolina and Penn State. Those are the only teams where I'm like, yeah, they're going, and Georgetown, just because of their league. But I think, I could see. I do think Hopkins gets in. Virginia's tough. I think Virginia's going to be better. The schedule does kind of leave me a little. Their schedule's kind of. I mean, I put on there like that Virginia Duke game might be huge next year, just considering where those teams are kind of at. But yeah, I think 3. I was high on Rutgers. The schedule's kind of they just got to be really freaking good. I mean, go back to the last time Rutgers made the tournament in 2022. What was the reason they made the tournament? It's because they beat everyone they played that wasn't a Final Four team. Like they lost. And Princeton. They lost to Maryland and Princeton in the regular season. They beat everybody else. Like that got them the 6th seed. It's just kind of tough with the schedule that you have.
One more prediction. Sorry to say before we move on.
Oh.
I think Penn surprises. Because I'm looking at, because there's one of my own things. I remember when that Penn State prediction I had. It's just like, if you look back at the schedule from last year, there's a significant number of like 1 goal loss, overtime losses, like that's kind of on the cusp. And the reason I think it's like, obviously changing leadership. And I think Ray just, does have something in him that like he can. Every year we saw at St. Joe's, no matter the production that they lead, they're always able to like have not just productive, but quite a competitive team on the field. And I think just a new energy, new focus, just new everything with him there. With the return, they're not like totally like have everything coming back, but like they're not extremely like going to be like bare bone and returning. I think they're just kind of like right in the middle of the pack, 66% back. How much
of that team do you want back?
This is like
like I don't want to be like they didn't win 4 games. I
think they bottomed out for sure. We can be honest there. But that's the thing. There's no verb else to go but up. And again, maybe it's just too much faith in the Ray. But like I do see something with that, and just kind of saw with Princeton. Princeton was kind of like languishing. They made the call, got mad.
I don't know if they ever bottomed out. They never bottomed out like that though.
Certain moments before that, maybe.
There were some bad moments. Don't get me wrong. All right, Dave. Let's do this. Penn or Brown next year?
I'm going Penn.
Yeah, I don't totally disagree on that. Brown's got I think Brown's got. Torpy really took over. Last year was year 0 for Torpy. He took over a team that was senior heavy, bad, and the seniors got suspended in like the middle of the year. Like that was the year before Torpy took over. Like he just had a total year 0. This is Torpy's year 1 this year. I think they've got it. All right, I agree with you, Penn or Brown. Ryan, Penn or Brown?
Yeah, Penn. I think the more interesting question is the school up in New Hampshire compared to.
This is where I'm going next. Penn or Dartmouth?
That's the one. Last year they lost to Dartmouth by 1.
Part of me wonders if I'm going too far with the Dartmouth thing. Like I do, I want to believe, but then I'm also like, they did lose.
They've been a solid 21st to 25th place team lately.
They have, but like they did lose to Yale by 9 goals, and Yale wasn't very good. Like it's like there's some good games in there. Like they played Princeton and Cornell close. They beat Penn and Brown, but then they also lost to Harvard and Yale by 11 and 9. I think they're good. And like if you want to talk about returning production, Dartmouth Dartmouth is 14th. Again, they return back quite a bit on the offensive side of the ball. I kind of wonder if I'm a little too hasty here, but so Penn or Dartmouth, what do we think?
I think for this year, Big Green.
Safe, I think you got to go Penn. If you're going to say Penn's going
to
surprise,
yeah.
All right, yeah, I think you kind of have to at that point. Penn or Yale?
Yeah, well, I'll see Yale. Not that close of a game. I mean, 11-14.
It can't get any worse for Yale, can it?
They'll be at Yale this year.
Yale's got a.
I mean, I'm the Andy Shea truther, so I'm going.
This is really. I think this is a fact. Yale literally is dead last in returning production. It's a whole new team at Yale this year. Like it's a whole new, and maybe that's what's needed. Maybe they just need a detox and like. I think this is a pivotal year for the Shea. If they bottom out again, if they're 5-8 again, they're not going to fire him, but like, that's kind of it, right? Like, as far as they're in the Loyola zone at that point.
Yeah. The movement,
it's kind of now if they turn it around, like if Yale this year is contending for an NCAA, they just need to be in the mix for a tournament spot. I'm not saying they have to make it, but if Yale gets back in the mix for a tournament spot with a brand new team, that means you're like, okay, 2027, we're back on track. But I'll say Yale over Penn. I just think I love Ray. I think he's kind of got. I think that's the thing. I think they really bottomed out. I think if he's taking over this team like 2 years ago, when Penn was kind of like in the mix, you could be like, man, he's there year one, make the offense better, which has kind of been their problem, and maybe new coach buzz. Just like I just think they're kind of. I'm with you along some like I'm not as maybe in as you are, though. I mean, I think he's going to do well. I think they're in a tough spot year one. Now, I'll say this. The positive is this is probably one of the years, like last year was not the year to I mean, Cornell's not going to be as good. Harvard could be. Yale is kind of like there's worse years to be a starting head coach in the Ivy. Like last year would have been we saw it, with Murphy. Like last year the Ivy was really strong. Maybe the Ivy is a little weaker this year, and it's more. Though I guess I don't know. It's hard. The Ivy was really strong at the top last year. It was kind of weaker at the bottom. We'll see.
That's it. Yeah, I think they battle for the fourth position.
Okay.
Because I think Harvard, Princeton, Cornell definitely odds-on favorite. But I think they battle with Yale for the number 4.
Okay. Maybe. And see, I think the Ivy is going to be an interesting league to watch because I think last year was the best Ivy League. 2022, but other than that, last year was as good a league as the Ivy's had in years and years.
2 top 3 seeds.
2 top 3 seeds. The Ivy hadn't had the number 1 seed in the tournament in like 30 years since Tierney's Princeton teams. And I think you clearly have 2 rocks, like a big 2 at the top. Can Yale get back? Can Harvard? Can it become 3 every year? Because this is kind of the issue the Ivy has is they have 2 good teams, but maybe one is just decent, and they wind up because of the bottom. They're all fighting for like 1 NCAA tournament spot or 1 LH. Can Ivy get to a spot where there's 3 good teams year in year out? And that's where really I think they get close to the Big Ten and the ACC is if they can. I mean, they're not far off. I mean, obviously, they've won a couple national titles in the last 6-7 years, but if they can get a third really strong team in there, whether Yale comes back or Harvard can make the leap, that's the thing. I mean, I like the coaches they have in the league. I mean, Ray, always been big fans of Ray. I think Torpy's a good coach. Kerwin's done a really good job at Dartmouth. I mean, I think it's the strongest the league has been coaching wise in a long time. Coaches are actually going into the Ivy League now, as opposed to while there was just an exodus. And I think you've got a chance. It would take like equity to get Connor Busick out of Ithaca. Like you'd have to pay off his house or something bigger. Madeline, I'm sure there are teams. If Ryan's thesis about multiple openings is true, Matt Madeline is going to get a call. But would you really? I don't think he has to leave.
Yeah.
I don't think it's what it was.
I think Princeton's back at a place where he could stay put.
I mean, it's like I
And
don't know.
and I think there is something. I think that just to tie this in with FCS. Now that the Ivy League's eligible for the FCS playoffs again, if you notice, they're starting to make big splashes in FCS. So this Ivy League schools are putting a good chunk of change into their athletics again. There were 2 bid league in the FCS playoffs, no less, too. So they're putting their money into athletics again. So if Madeline gets a call from somewhere, Princeton might just pony up to keep them.
The question is just, what do these coaches think about where the NIL and the scholarship thing is going? Because the Ivy does have the leg up of what they can, with aid and things like that. And it's obviously people want to go play at these Ivy League schools. If we get into a position where these Big Ten or ACC schools are funding like 40 scholarships, that might be a bit. What, the roster limit's now 48? Right? Isn't the 48? Right now, we're at like we're getting close to 2/3 of scholarships being funded at these top end schools. If we get to a point where it's like 75% or 85%, then it gets a little, they're playing a bit of a different ballgame. But yeah, I think I think Madeline's I think he's proven he can get talent to Princeton. Like their recruiting is as good as anybody in the sport. So, I think about there, they play as tough a schedule as anybody. I think he's got proof of concept. And Jerry Burns done a good job. I mean, maybe a certain one school comes calling down the line, maybe for Jerry Burns. But Shea, they're never getting rid of Shea. I mean, the only way Shea would leave is just if he, it became maybe like both sides just need to split up. Carwin just got there and he's doing really well. Torpy just got there and Ray just got there. So, yeah, the league's in a good spot. I think it'd be interesting to see if they can grow on it in 2026, 2027.
All right, let's wrap things up with a little bit of 2025. Look back at the year that was. Here's some of our favorite things from 2025.
Good movie year. I'm trying to think what I saw. I saw F1 in theaters. That was a big hit. Major success, obviously. Good film. The racing was very good. Maybe not quite as good as I'd like it to be, but I don't think anything's ever going to be Grand Prix. But racing sequences are pretty fantastic. Pretty boilerplate.
It was so much of a success that Apple decided to get the F1 TV rights.
So wait, you guys anybody can't watch this unless you have Apple TV now?
That is correct.
They're think about that, Save. I mean, like, they had a boom period of F1 in the United States because the races were free. You turned on ESPN and you watched it in 90 minutes and it was over. Now they're asking you to pay, I don't know, what's an Apple TV subscription?
Yeah, I can't even tell you an Apple TV show. Like, I mean, did they get soccer?
What is it?
How's that going? How's that
going? The MLS thing was a disaster. Not only did you have to MLS, this was fucking insane. Not only was it on Apple TV, it was on an additional paywall beyond Apple TV.
You had to subscribe to Apple TV and pay for the add-on.
And you had the Messi Plus subscription.
You had to subscribe to Apple TV and then pay for League Pass, basically.
And it said Messi like $10 every month. Outside.
Yeah, like it was insane. Now it's just they got rid of that this year. It's just behind Apple TV.
We're only giving you one paywall now.
How much is Apple TV? $8?
Apple
$9?
TV.
$10?
Yeah, let's see the Apple TV. Now, don't forget about Friday Night Baseball, AK, when
Safe, what's the new show?
AK, your team's on Friday Night Baseball. You're not watching baseball that night. It's $12.99 a month is Apple TV.
Man, I'm gonna.
I mean, people always talk about their like prestige, and I just feel they're just like lighting $1 billion on fire every year.
What's the new show with Seahorn? Pluribus?
What's up? What's up?
What's the Pluribus with Rhea Seehorn and Vince Gilligan's new show?
Ooh, don't.
That's gotten good. That's gotten. People are talking. I see tweets about that. Like
Apocalyptic TV. All right, yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's on Apple TV.
Yeah, that's got good. I mean, I see everybody talking about it on Twitter. So there's that. How much does it cost, Ryan? How much does it cost to get Sky Sports? Like, if you just like
if you're in the UK,
yeah.
Sky Sports subscription cost is for, let's see, they got different packages.
What's the cheapest package that gets you F1?
Okay, cheapest now is £20 a month.
What's 20
Gets you
pounds?
Premier League, F1, and more.
£20 to US dollars is $27. Okay, so I could do $13 for Apple, or I already have a VPN. I could just get Sky and get other stuff with it for double the price. I mean, like, I'm not saying
now,
I'm going to do that.
For what it's worth with the Apple TV one, though, is I think they are bundling in F1 TV with the subscription, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a little. F1 TV is good. That's a little. I'm going to be completely honest here. The most likely outcome is that I find an alternative route to watch Formula One. I didn't say what that alternative.
Same way you watch boxing and UFC and WWE back in the day. Am I right or am I right?
Look, all I'm going to say is I haven't paid for a boxing pay-per-view in 10 years, and I've never paid for a UFC pay-per-view in my life. I'm not saying how I watch it. I'm just I'm just telling you.
There you go. That's right.
I'm just telling you I haven't paid for it. The last boxing pay-per-view I bought was Mayweather Pacquiao. That's
aging yourself.
That's 10 years ago, almost 15. No, almost 11. Not 15. So yeah, that's probably the most likely outcome. But we'll see. I mean, I think it's a bad idea. But yeah, but F1 was good. Superman was good. I like Superman.
I saw F1 I thought it was just a regular IMAX, but it was the 4K one.
Oh man!
And I thought I was gonna die like several times. I was like, "What is going on?" It really was like kind of felt like a little uncomfortable. I was like, I need to watch this maybe just on a regular IMAX or just at home, because I definitely was like being jostled around quite a lot. And, yeah, it was a great movie. Yeah, it's just which
I'm gonna do a whole, like, when they announce the Oscar nominees, I'm going to do like a whole deep dive. I haven't seen a lot. I saw One Battle After Another, which was tremendous. I had a hell of a time with that. That probably is going to win the Oscar, and I'm not going to. I mean, of the movies this year that I've seen, the new movies, it was the best one I saw, but I haven't seen a lot, so I need to kind of. Before I can give my full take, I need to see the whole, breadth of the nominees. More so.
I'm going to war for your girl.
Amazon. We're there. The war has been won.
It's like a scene where the dwarf and Legolas, or the dwarf and Orlando Bloom are like, "You never thought I'd be fighting maybe alongside a friend." That's what I'm going to say to Emma Stone, like Twitter mom. Like, I'm here. Jake's going to vouch for me.
So yeah, I'm excited to see that. Yeah, there's a lot I want to, but I'm going to wait until all the. I mean, I really want to see the ones I definitely want to see. I want to see that. I want to see Sentimental Value with Skarsgård, and damn, that looks pretty good. What else? I feel like I'm missing. Oh, I'm gonna go see Marty this week.
All right, I was going to start to watch it last weekend, but it just didn't have parking.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go see Marty. I'm gonna see Marty Supreme this week. Though I'll be honest, like, I think this year's been. I've liked what I've seen this year. I'm more honestly excited for the announcements we've gotten this year, because we've gotten the Odyssey trailers, which looks I'm there. Like I'm literally I'll sit on the floor if I have to. Like first week, like I'm their opening weekend. Like Bill Simmons invented the term for this, and I mean, to be fair, a bunch of this podcast is kind of just cribbing off stuff that Bill's. It's a podcast. We're cribbing off Bill Simmons. It's just kind of like like all of it is this kind of stuff. But he invented the whole idea of like a season tickets to a director. I'm like beyond season tickets for Christopher Nolan. I'm like the like the most exclusive, like I'm like on the phone with the box office, like as soon as they go on sale.
When Tenet was coming out, they were writing articles in the New York Times like, "Who are these idiots going to see this movie in the theater?" And I was like, "Yeah, right here."
I'm beyond there. Like I'm right there. I will if I have to be there, Thursday or Friday weekend, and I'll sit on the floor. Like, it looks awesome. Michael Mann is making Heat 2, and he's making it with Leonardo DiCaprio and probably Christian Bale. Like, dog. Like
Murderers Row. Yeah, we're back.
Like Michael Mann, he's like 82 years old, and his last movie was Ferrari. What did you think about Ferrari?
I went on an Adam Driver Italian movie like Gucci, which I love. you knew right on the top. It was for me. And then right after that was Ferrari, which was also great. I mean, Penelope Cruz still got like high 90s. That cutter, it just falls off the table. You have like Adam, just great. Like the whole like racing history. I did not know the story in terms of the ending. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It's like a 6-year-old movie now, but that definitely got me by surprise. At the very end where it was the accident and everything. But yeah, just a phenomenal movie. But there's a scene in there, like I kind of reference a lot, where like he's talking to his drivers. He's like, all my drivers, college educated, very gentleman drivers, or something like that. I got to find it. I'll clip it and I'll send it to you guys. But he's like, but in racing, you got to like essentially like be willing to die. And I'm not doing it justice. But yeah, love the Ferrari movie.
It's like, was it great? I don't know. It's Michael. Like, does Michael Mann, like, does he still have it? I don't know. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna be there and find out.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's like there's certain directors you're just gonna see regardless.
I've been doing a man watch this week. I watched Thief, Manhunter.
It's like Ridley. Whatever really going, I'm going to see it, even if it's getting panned. Like,
I always knew I loved Michael Mann. I think I might love him even more than I thought. Like, he's just incredible. I was looking up buying the Miami Vice thing on DVD, like the OG. New Miami Vice, Michael B. Jordan, Austin Butler. Though I am, contemplating that Jesse Plemons, Michael B. Jordan instead. I'm just saying. I think that'd be pretty.
Jesse could do the grimy. You need a grimy looking, dirtbag vice cop for that.
Yeah. So I movie year was good, but I'm even more excited for next year, and then maybe Heat 2 would probably be the year after. But the Odyssey, dude, I'm there. TV. Everything on TV is in like 6 different places. Like it's just, I just want to turn on the television and like watch something. Like
King of the Hill revival was pretty good.
Everything's just it's so hard to like. I went from being like a movie to, and then I became a TV person when it was like, this show's on FX and you can just watch it, or this show's on HBO and you can just watch it every week. And now it's like, yeah, this show you just watched that it came out 6 months ago and you just watched it just now and it was good. It's gonna take 2 years for the new one to come. It's like, all right,
that's huge. I'm
out. It's like I'm just out. Like,
it's so like obviously comfort TV. I always have things like that, but yeah, I'm with like as of recent, like just kind of can't get over the fact of like essentially they're just soap operas. So a lot of the dramas, it's just so it's just like. kind of get at, especially like, oh, the great first season, and then you got to wait 3 years for the next season. Then it comes out, and it's just like, who are these guys again? Kind of lose all the momentum. It's just like, yeah, they don't make serialized like that's kind of why I always loved like the old school Law and Orders, or I understand why people like NCIS and CSI. Like, there's procedural stuff, but yeah, there's like a rhythm to it. You can comfortable, you can just watch it and stuff like that. A lot of
I don't even need a
ones I'm not
procedural.
into.
I need like something where I need episodes. Like what? Like I know 24 episodes is probably never happening again. Can you make 16? Can you do 12 even? Like I think Justified was 12 back in the day. Maybe 10. Like, can you do everything? Is like there used to be this thing called a limited series, and then there used to be this thing called a full series. Now everything's a limited. The limited series doesn't exist because everything is 7 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
I did like House of Dynamite. That's one thing I actually got back, besides the 50 Cent documentary. What got me back to Netflix was I saw the House of Dynamite the trailer, and our girl Rebecca Ferguson was just looking like a DC operator, just under stress. I was like, I kind of see what this is about. But yeah, it was pretty good. About like a launch that Captain America. It's like, but it's like shown by like 3 different angles, so essentially it's kind of like the same clips over. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's some of the things can't really get into now. Shows.
I did pay. This is going to tell you what kind of person I am. I paid the $5 for the PBS like passport thing because I just decided I want to watch all the Ken Burns documentaries. Good deal. I mean, $5 for like all the Ken Burns stuff and whatever else. And my mom watches
PBS
whatever.
has a lot.
My mom watches whatever terrible PBS dramas they. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's like it's like this is definitely for a certain audience. The like PBS dramas they make.
Are you being served does hit sometimes,
But I'm like, listen, $5 for all the Ken Burns stuff? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. I watched the Civil War like 10 times. I'll watch it again.
I used to mess with BritBox a lot. Like, also similar to what you were talking about, like the lack of episodes, like length, but like they're always good. Like maybe like only the series were.
And they're usually they're usually pretty longer, like an hour.
Yeah, so. You can get more like hour-long ones for like certain and like again some of the procedural like cop mystery or like who killed so and so.
The only thing with the Brits is British series are usually only 6 to 8 episodes a series.
But it's a little bit longer, and they're kind of there's less commercial. You don't have to like get the ad-free version, because no one gets BritBox, so they're just happy to subscribe for the most part. But and there's not that many commercials anyway for British TV. But yeah, it's and that was one of the few places that I could always watch the thick of it whenever I wanted any episode at any time. So I carried it for like 2 years. But yeah, no, I cut back. Paramount stopped that. Even though I like Mayor of Kingstown, I know they're new. I might watch Industry. That's a show I did get into. I really like the second season. I know third season's coming out soon, but I think for that, I'd probably just do what I did for second season: just wait, ignore everything, and then just buy it all. Season pass, and just watch it, like binge it through.
Yeah, television. King of the Hill revival was pretty good. That was better than I expected.
I was going to ask. Yeah, we were talking about that in the DMs.
Yeah. I still actually got to finish it up though. Actually, I got around to it in the summer. Then school year started, and I still got to finish that. But that was better than expected. I'd say favorite thing on TV, Smiling Friends season 3. I think again, I think they're doing something really interesting with kind of the mixed media going on with that show, but also, again, having an adult animation show that isn't overly cynical, I think helps really separate it from everything else these days. It's a genuinely funny show, but I think just not being overly cynical like a lot of the other Adult Swim shows are, or what you see on other networks, I think really helps set it apart. So that's continued to be very good. I didn't really get too much into TV this year, though.
Started reading more. I'm a slow reader, which is bad, but I finished a biography of Lenin. That was really good. They made a Hulu show about it, the Say Nothing, about the Troubles. or maybe it was Disney Plus. I don't know, one of those two. I don't know what the TV show. The TV show did do something very funny, which is at like the end of every episode, it was like Jerry Adams has always denied being involved in political violence.
Got to keep the lawyers at bay.
Bill of Bliers. But the book,
there's a Simpson line that reminds me like how out of pocket they were back in the day. But it was like a St. Patty's parade or something like that. It was in England, but I forget the exact. I've got to find it and send it to you. But like Bart and Lisa were like, "Where's the IRA when you need them?" And like a Irish guy was walking by, he's like, "Oh, we renounced the bomb and the gun, for peaceful way." And then there was like a bus that went by. They're like, and he's like, we've been all over it back in there. So I'm like, just like absolutely crazy. But you don't make IRA jokes like.
Here was the Jerry Adams has always denied being a member of the IRA or participating in any IRA related violence.
I told
Jerry, weren't you literally in weren't you literally in the IRA? Like, didn't you admit to being in it back in like the 80s?
Right. I was telling Jake the day we were going through a little Daniel Day-Lewis combo, and I was looking at his IMDb. I was like, "Hey, he just doesn't have the snaps. So I can put him in the top 5." But then I saw like there was like 3 movies in a row where it was like IRA related. Which I was like, "All right, I'm thinking DDL another shot." Yeah, it was like 3 in the 90s. It was like where's the boxer? I thought that one looked really good. Where he's just dragged back into the game.
I mean, his big one. What is it? In the Name of the Father?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah, so I read that book. That was good. I'm reading Paris 1919 right now. Gonna finish that. And Barnes and Noble opened up near me, so gonna head to the bookstore pretty soon.
Barnes and Noble opening up in the year 2025.
I know.
They opened like 60 spots. Is that what their article says? Oh, coming back. I think people want. That's what I was noticing when I went to New York just to walk around, see the tree and stuff. And it was just insanely packed, which, holidays in New York. But I think people were looking for more like things where you don't have to spend money just to exist in that space. Like third places.
Exactly.
So there's a lack of third places where, there's all these New York Times articles on that. But yeah, I could understand that. Maybe that's why Barnes & Noble making a bit of a comeback. But you could still buy books on Amazon, but the leisurely way you could just relax and kind of spend time there. I was trying to go there to look for a book, and I ended up just walking for my mom, and I just ended up walking around like 45 minutes. So I was like,
exactly. Yeah. It's nice to just sit there and
not be charged by the minute.
Exactly. You have to pay a ticket just to be here. Like, no, I just want to I want to do something, and if I want to leave, I'll leave. All right, it's fine. That was the thing you used to do. When I was a kid, my dad would be like, "You want to go to the mall?" I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "To walk around." I was like, "What? What do you why how'd you do that?" Now I'm just like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." I'd love to go to the mall and just get a Cinnabon. That sounds like a great idea.
But many of Friday nights in Syracuse going to the Carousel Center, now Destiny USA. Just had a free bus to the mall. Do that. Walk around, get some dinner, do some window shopping.
Yeah, Kevin Smith classic.
I'll walk in, pretend that I'm going to buy something, even though I know no, I'm not going to buy something. But I'm going to think for a moment.
Do you need any help with anything? Nope, thank you.
No, I'm good.
All righty.
Here's
say 2020.
Best sporting event of 2025.
MLB postseason. As Bill Simmons would say, baseball having a moment.
Baseball having a moment.
Yeah,
whole 2025 MLB postseason.
I'll say for Super Bowl.
Why did I do that?
Listen, I have diligently abided by the Nazar Accords. You didn't hear one peep of public, no whining.
You ain't going to.
Woe is me. I made jokes, self-deprecating jokes. I did everything. Now we're back. Hopefully make another Super Bowl run. But that was great. I was in Philly for it. It was wonderful. It was great, great night.
No, I'd say MLB postseason. Every round was just bangers. 4 nations facing off was good. Nice appetizer for Olympic hockey in a couple months. Other than that, I mean, kind of a mass sports here, though. I mean, yeah, the NBA Finals went 7, but that got derailed quickly with the Halliburton injury. Stanley Cup Finals were fine. They started off well, but then they lost steam.
The Four Nations was pretty.
Yeah, that's what I said. Four Nations was good.
That was good.
Like March Madness, at least it ended on a good note.
March Madness was good. It was good.
That was a slow burn, but then it got real good at the end. Racing sucked.
The worst, generally, I think the worst F1, like, if you went back and like every F1 season to go down to the last race, I think this might have been the worst one. Like, just shockingly little juice for literally what went down to the last race of the season.
Yeah. NASCAR was just an absolute abomination.
That was terrible, dude.
IndyCar was wrapped up like 4 races into the season. Not a good year for auto racing.
I feel 2026 is going to be a big sports year. I mean,
yes.
We got the
Winter Olympics and World Cup.
We got that.
Oh, I didn't tell you guys. Ryan mentioned his LA thing. I've decided. I've been having a Seattle trip on my like radar for like years now. I think I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go see Iran play Egypt in Seattle.
Oh, let's go! Let's go!
That's the last game of their group stage. So I think I'm going to do like that week. Maybe I'll go see a Mariners game, and I'll go. If they're, I hope they have a homestand that week. But
are you going to sneak into Vancouver?
That'd be interesting. That might be. I mean, now we're cooking.
Yeah, because Vancouver's also a World Cup site, so.
And it's what? It's literally just a freaking ferry ride.
Yeah, it's about 3 hours and the border border crossing.
I mean, I might. I might. But yeah, I'm definitely doing Iran because Iran's got 2 games in LA and they got 1 game in Seattle, and I'm gonna do that.
Nice.
So, no, yeah, I mean, World Cup, Winter Olympics. Is there anything else that I'm like major? Oh, I mean, tennis had a real.
Yeah, tennis had a good year.
Sinner and Alcaraz, real kind of resurgent. So that should be fun to see that get back.
Yeah, Australian Open only a couple weeks away.
Yeah, racing will be interesting because you got new F1 regulations. So.
Mm-hmm. Plus Cadillac joined the fray.
Yeah, new American team. And then NASCAR, some new points format. We'll see.
Knock on wood.
I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up about what I want to see, but could be better. I mean, I think it's definitely going to be better, but...
It'll be interesting to see baseball continues their momentum.
Yeah, I mean, you've had teams... The Orioles have spent money in free agency. I'm excited about that. It was a bad year for the Orioles, but I think they should be, better. And so, no, it should be. Yeah, it should definitely be a big sports year.
Yeah, I mean, like NHL, the whole Eastern Conference is just all lumped together. Like that's the thing. Like the NFL playoffs are completely wide open because you have like 14 flawed teams all going at it one another. So it's gonna be wide open in the NFL. NHL, the West is kind of haves and have-nots, but the East is just all completely lumped together. Anyone who makes the playoffs can go on a run there.
Well, I mean, there's like 5 teams the Flyers and the Islanders are not going to make the playoffs. Sorry, right? Like the Flyers literally are 7-0 in the shootout. Like they have. Let me look at the standings. The NHL is just one of these days. The NHL is going to grow up and become an adult league and be like, you know what? You either get a point if you win, or you don't. Okay, regulation wins. The Flyers have the
20.
They're 24th in regulation wins in the NHL. So that means wins they've won in 60 minutes. They are 24th of 32 in their division in terms of points. They are 3rd.
How in the world do the Islanders have the 4th most regulation wins? I feel like they go into overtime all the time.
It's what? Insane. It's insane, dude. Buffalo has 13 regulation wins and is now right outside of playoffs. What are we doing, Doc? It's really the NHL's just gotta. Washington has 18 regulation wins, 3 more than anyone else in the Metro, and they're 4th. The Panthers have 17 regulation wins, 4 more than Montreal, and they have 4 fewer points. The Flyers have as many regulation wins as the Rangers. Oh, God, I can't get over the NHL. Just some years it really winds up like this. Where you're like, wow, that's just really stupid.
All right. I think that's just about that.
Yeah. Good show.
Yeah.
What
should we do if we like this show then, Jake?
When it goes up on YouTube, you should smash the like button and you should subscribe to the Cross Commission on YouTube. We are a whopping 5 Saturdays away from the return of the Cross Commission College Cross Power Hour. Live Saturday after the conclusion, or in the evening after the batch of most games Saturday has finished. We are live every Saturday, sometimes occasionally Sunday, to break down all the action from that day and that weekend of games. We do it every Saturday. The NCAA tournament, we do it like 5 or 6 times. Sometimes we even go live during some games. That Maryland-Syracuse Friday night looks like maybe
that might be a live streamer.
It might be a live streamer. But we do that. We will be back with you Saturday, January 30th.
Saturday, January 31st. I know it gets earlier and earlier each year. The funny thing about that, I might actually be heading down to Philly that day for I might do a day trip for a Flyer game that day, but I'll be back in time for the evening to chat some lax. Okay, this is kind of hilarious if you're watching the YouTube video. Jake's like frozen mid-sentence. But on that note, you could also, so definitely subscribe to the Cross Commission on YouTube. That's where the majority of our stuff gets put up to. We still have the podcast in audio format too. We're not entirely pivoting to video and all that stuff. So you could follow us, subscribe to the Cross Commission podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast. Do not fill my inbox of how we could get more viewers and monetize it and stuff. We do this for the love of the game. We're not looking to grow. So sorry, everyone who solicits into my emails without asking. We do this for the love of the game. Sorry, not sorry.
People come into your email about lacrosse?
Yeah, they're like, your podcast could be getting thousands of more viewers by utilizing YouTube and.
I thought you meant like people actually like when we do the whole like email Ryan bit. I think like people actually like email you.
No. It's just people that there's a podcast here. I'm gonna just solicit out of nowhere and try to get ad buys and
people just like see it. People just like seeing
Ryan. Your audience is not being reached enough. You know that you need to do this, that, and the other thing.
We're sick and tired of your ACC
background. If you're interested in monetizing and really growing your platform, reach out, back out. No, delete.
People see Ryan's top 20 poll and actually like handwrite and type out an email, break it down. You had this team at number 5.
I mean, it's not 2017 anymore. I feel like people aren't like that anymore.
Yeah, the poll thing is really the depth of the poll.
I remember back in the day where every week it was just everyone on lacrosse Twitter arguing about everyone else's polls.
It was good. Listen, sometimes it wasn't good. When you wouldn't rank Yale in your top 20 and you get accosted as if you just like renounced the Constitution or something. But like that wasn't good. But I mean, listen, discourse is good. Lively debate is good. That's why we like doing this. So, I mean, we always put the poll out there, so we'll keep doing it. But maybe we should start doing our Sunday night. Maybe that's a good thing we should do.
I gotta go to bed early on Sunday night. Sorry.
No, that's true. Well, we could try and get it in, by like, we set like a hard deadline, like 5 o'clock Sunday. You gotta get your poll in.
Or like the Excel version and the illustration.
There you go.
Yeah,
The Excel version goes out, Sunday night, but then the graphic version goes out Monday. I like that. Interesting idea. We can bring it back. We can be trendsetters.
No, we used to do that when we had the Patreon. I used to send the subscribers our list on Sunday night.
Claude used to send his out every Sunday night too. Way back. Way back.
We're talking the Claude era, man.
Yeah. Isn't this our 10th year? Isn't this year 10?
This will be year 10 of the pod.
10 of the pod.
Ryan wrote beforehand, and I started writing in 2015.
Yeah, 10th anniversary, 11th season.
We might need to do a special like episode or something. I mean, 10 years is pretty.
We shall see.
There's not a lot of pods that get 10 years, But listen, what's the beauty of podcast? Ease of access.
Mm-hmm.
Barrier to entry, none.
I think
I think one of those jokes of like podcast equipment, no, and all that. I sent it to the group. It's like
it's kind of one of the first, wasn't it? I remember Ryan. I was like, I'll do the Ryan. Ryan was like, why don't we do a podcast? I was like, let's do it. I don't think there was that many out there.
I think IL had something going on. Didn't Terry and Quint have theirs during that? I think they were still.
I think theirs was out by then.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of. Like not the proliferation that we have now.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you can also follow us on the Everything app, Twitter at RyanMcD29.
At Erie_Barrister.
At College_Crosse.
You could also follow me on Blue Sky on the same, but I mean, nobody talks about sports on that anyway, so not really worth following me there. But
corner of the market.
I do. I talk about sports. That's what I talk about.
I think we're the only two that do, but
I think
on non-football days, it's actually decent on Saturdays and Sundays. There's football talk.
I think you need to like
on Blue Sky. I've never.
This feels like a classic. Like you need to curate your timeline better type. Like
the problem is I am curated it. It's mostly
you are the master of your own domain.
Like if I were to curate it any further, you and Skipjack would be the only two people I'd be following.
That's a good timeline right there. That's a good timeline.
With your Oreo propaganda.
I mean, Ryan, Pete Alonso's a Baltimore Oriole, you heard?
At this juncture, the Mets offseason, and you reminding me about Pete Alonso, might make me become a full-blown Blue Jay fan for 2026.
That's just listen. I know you like to say hurtful things. I understand you're coming from a position of, but like let's not be, listen, I forgive you. I forgive you for that comment.
Besides, it was more fun trolling Yankee fans. Oriole fans, you guys are cool, but it was fun watching Yankee fans melt down the ALDS. It is funny now, though, that ever since the 2004 ALCS, every time the Yankees are on a verge of elimination, they think they could come back. Yankee fans think they could come back from a 0-win deficit because it happened to them. It is kind of humorous. All right, I left you guys speechless. So thank you guys for listening. Have a happy and healthy new year. We'll catch you on the flip side of 2026. And remember, New Year's Eve can be amateur hour. Make sure to stay hydrated.
Thank you, Mr. President.
See you out there.